Once upon a time, in a small village called Jabalain, surrounded by tall mountains, there was a kind and fair ruler named Zayd. Everyone loved him because he cared for the people. Zayd had one child, his daughter Yasmin. She was smart and brave, always learning from her father. But the villagers didn't believe a woman could lead them because they had never had a woman ruler before. As Zayd grew older and weaker, problems started in the village. Crops were dying, and animals were getting sick. The people whispered about an old story, a prophecy that said a hidden heir would come to save them. Zayd was worried about what would happen to the village. Yasmin saw how worried he was and promised herself she would do anything to prove she could lead. One evening, Zayd called Yasmin to his room. He spoke softly but seriously. "Yasmin," he said, "our people are losing hope. They are waiting for the heir from the prophecy, but they don't believe it's you. To show them you can lead, you must go on a journey to find the truth." Yasmin felt nervous, but she loved her father and her people. She agreed. She packed her things, including a small blade to protect herself, and got ready for the journey. Before she left, Zayd gave her a necklace with a green stone. "This will guide you," he said. "Trust your heart." At sunrise, Yasmin met her guide, an old traveler named Malik. He was an experienced man who carried a staff with strange carvings. "The journey will not be easy," Malik said. "You must be strong in your mind, heart, and soul to succeed." Yasmin nodded, ready to face whatever came her way. They began their journey across the desert. The golden sand stretched as far as they could see. The sun was very hot, but Malik taught Yasmin how to find water and follow the stars to stay on track. As they traveled, Yasmin felt like the land was trying to tell her something, though she didn't understand it yet. After many days of walking, they reached a hidden oasis surrounded by tall palm trees. Clear water sparkled under the sun, and there was a small village around it. The villagers welcomed Yasmin and Malik, giving them food and a place to rest. An old man came to them. He had kind but wise eyes. "Why have you come to our home?" he asked. Yasmin explained her journey, and the old man nodded. "The prophecy speaks of 3 trials," he said. "One for the mind, one for the heart, and one for the soul. If you pass these trials, you will prove that you are the true heir." The old man gave Yasmin a map with strange symbols on it. "This will guide you," he said, "but be careful. The path is dangerous, and many have failed." Yasmin looked at the map and saw the first trial was in the mountains to the north. The villagers gave her a bag of supplies, and Malik smiled at her. "You're ready for this," he said. Yasmin wasn't sure if she was ready, but she knew she couldn't go back now. They followed the map and soon arrived at a high cliff. There, a giant falcon with glowing golden eyes was perched on a rock. The falcon spoke, its voice deep and wise. "To pass," it said, "you must solve my riddles. If you fail, you must turn back." Yasmin's heart raced, but she listened carefully to each riddle. They were tricky and tested her knowledge and memory, but she thought hard and answered each one. After hours of thinking, she gave her last answer. The falcon bowed its head. "You have passed the trial of the mind," it said. Following the map again, Yasmin and Malik came to a fork in the path, deep in the mountains. One path was smooth and sunny, leading to a green valley. The other path was steep, rocky, and dangerous. A voice echoed, "Choose the path that shows your heart." Yasmin thought about her father's lessons and the struggles her people faced. She chose the hard, rocky path, even though it looked scary. The climb was tough, and her hands got cuts from the sharp rocks. But she didn't give up. At the top of the rocky path, Yasmin found a hidden temple carved into the mountain. Inside, she saw words carved into the stone. Only those who endure hardship can lead with strength. Yasmin smiled through her tiredness and pain, knowing she had passed the trial of the heart. Malik appeared, watching her with pride. "You have done well," he said, "but the hardest trial is still ahead." Yasmin nodded, feeling stronger than before and ready for the challenge. Yasmin and Malik continued their journey, following the map and the stars. The last trial was hidden deep in the mountains at a place called the Peak of Souls. As they climbed higher, the air became thinner, and Yasmin grew more tired. But she kept moving, remembering her father's words and her promise to the village. At the peak, they found a large mirror standing under the open sky. Its surface shone like water, and Yasmin felt a strange chill. When she looked into the mirror, she didn't see her reflection. Instead, she saw her village in chaos, people crying, the land dry and lifeless. Then, the image changed. She saw herself sitting on a dark throne, surrounded by shadows. A voice came from the mirror. "This is your final test. Will you choose power for yourself or serve your people with love and selflessness?" Yasmin's heart felt heavy. The throne looked tempting, but her love for her people was stronger. With shaking hands, she took her father's pendant and smashed the mirror. "I choose my people," she said firmly. When the mirror broke, a bright light surrounded Yasmin. Malik covered his eyes as the air filled with a soft humming sound. From the shattered mirror, a small glowing orb floated toward Yasmin and rested over her heart. Warmth spread through her, and she suddenly understood. She wasn't just an heir by blood. She was the heir the prophecy spoke about. The voice returned, now soft and approving. "You have passed the trial of the soul. You are the true heir." Yasmin turned to Malik, her eyes filled with tears. He nodded, proud of her. "Your people will now see who you truly are," he said. With the trials complete, Yasmin and Malik began their journey back to the village. The path was still dangerous, with wild winds and loose rocks threatening their steps. Yasmin felt the weight of her new responsibility, but also a strength she hadn't felt before. On the way, they met a group of lost travelers who looked scared and tired. Yasmin shared her food and water with them and listened to their stories. When they learned who she was, they knelt before her. "You are the one we've been waiting for," they said. Yasmin felt humbled, realizing that being a leader wasn't about power. It was about serving others. When Yasmin returned to her village, she was met with mixed feelings. Some people doubted her, while others looked at her with hope. Her father, Zayd, was now very weak, but smiled brightly when he saw her. "My daughter," he said in a faint voice, "you have come back." Yasmin knelt beside him and placed the jade pendant in his hands. "Father, I completed the trials," she said. "I'm ready to lead, but I need your blessing." Zayd smiled with tears in his eyes. "You are my greatest pride," he said. Yasmin quickly began addressing the problems in the village. She gathered the elders and listened to their worries. "Our crops are dying," one elder said. "The river's water is drying up." Yasmin promised to find solutions. She led efforts to dig new irrigation canals and sought advice from neighboring villages on better farming techniques. The villagers slowly began to see changes, and their trust in Yasmin grew. But not everyone believed in her. A man named Ibrahim led a group that spread rumors. "She isn't the real heir," he said. "The trials were fake." Yasmin knew she couldn't argue with words. She had to prove herself through actions. One night, a fire broke out in the village granary. Flames lit up the sky, threatening to destroy all their food. Yasmin was the first to act, rallying the villagers to help. She worked side by side with them, carrying water and putting herself in danger to save what she could. After hours of hard work, the fire was finally out. Though much was lost, the villagers were inspired by Yasmin's bravery. Even Ibrahim, who had doubted her, watched silently, beginning to see her in a new light. As they cleaned up the damage, Malik discovered an old chest buried in the ashes. Inside, they found scrolls with the history of the village and the prophecy. Yasmin read the scrolls carefully. They revealed that the true heir was not chosen by blood, but by their courage, wisdom, and ability to unite the people. Yasmin called a meeting in the village square. Holding up the scrolls, she spoke clearly. The prophecy is not about magic or special powers. It is about strength, love, and unity. Together, we can rebuild our village. Her words touched the hearts of the people, and they began to cheer her name. Yasmin worked tirelessly for her village, often staying up late to plan and solve problems. Malik told her to rest, but Yasmin shook her head. "My people need me," she said. Though the work was hard, she found happiness in seeing her people thrive again. The crops grew strong, the river flowed once more, and the villagers smiled with hope. As time went on, Yasmin became not just their leader, but someone they trusted deeply. She had proven herself through her trials and her actions, and the prophecy had been fulfilled. The village of Jabalain was alive again, united under the rule of a leader who chose love and sacrifice over power. As Yasmin worked hard to rebuild her village, a new danger appeared. A group of raiders from the faraway desert started attacking nearby villages. The people of Yasmin's village were worried they might be next. "We don't have an army," one elder said, his voice shaking. "How can we protect ourselves?" Yasmin stayed calm and refused to let fear take over. "We may not have an army," she said, "but we have courage and each other. We can protect our home if we work together." She set up a watchtower system and trained volunteers to act as guards and strategists. Even though the villagers were scared, they trusted Yasmin's plans and followed her lead. One dark night, the raiders came. Their torches lit up the horizon as they approached the village. Yasmin stood at the front, leading the defense. Using traps and barricades they had built, the villagers fought bravely. They used everything they had to protect their homes. The raiders thought the village would be an easy target, but they were wrong. The villagers, guided by Yasmin's leadership and their own determination, fought back with all their strength. In the end, the raiders realized they couldn't win and ran away into the desert. The villagers cheered, proud of their victory. "We stood together," Yasmin told them. "That is the power of unity." With peace returning to the village, Zayd's health grew worse. Yasmin spent every evening by his side, listening to his stories and learning from his wisdom. One quiet night, Zayd smiled at her. "You have done what I couldn't," he said. "You've shown our people what true leadership means. I can leave this world knowing the village is in safe hands." That night, Zayd peacefully passed away, surrounded by love. The whole village mourned his loss, but they also celebrated his life and the legacy he left behind. Yasmin led the ceremonies, promising to honor her father by continuing to serve her people with kindness and strength. Years went by, and under Yasmin's leadership, the village thrived. The crops grew well, trade routes were established, and the people lived in peace. Yasmin often visited the places where she had faced her trials, reminding herself of the lessons she had learned. Her journey became a legend, told around campfires and passed down for generations. The people no longer doubted that a woman could lead with strength and wisdom. Yasmin's name became a symbol of hope and bravery, inspiring others to believe in themselves and work together for a better future. One evening, Yasmin stood on a hill overlooking her vibrant village. The fields were green, the rivers flowed freely, and the laughter of children echoed in the air. A deep sense of peace filled her heart. She knew the trials had shaped her, but it was her love for her people that had made her the leader she was. Her father's words echoed in her heart. "You are my greatest legacy."